What up, guys? The Bench Buddies are back with my Week 11 NFL Power Rankings. As you can see, the biggest movers this week are the Dolphins after a huge win on Monday Night Football, then the Titans falling back down to earth with Will Levis's return against the Chargers. And 29 through 32, you find those Titans there, dropping those 5 spots. Had a great win against the Patriots the week before in OT, but then just kind of fell flat. Levis played better than he has this season in his return, but they get the Vikings at home in a tough game for them. Giants lose an OT in Germany. Bad loss there. Fumble on the first play in OT. So they head into their bye week and not looking too good for them. Saints get a win against the Falcons under head coach Rizzi, the new head coach, special teams coordinator, now head coach. And, once they got rid of Dennis Allen, I think it was more of a culture thing, bringing in, the guys seemed more energized for this game and, it paid off. Raiders have a bye and they come out of the bye facing the Dolphins in Miami, which is a huge game for both those teams. And obviously, Miami is moving up 6 spots after their win over the Rams. And, let's say the Raiders win, they're 3-7. Miami loses, they're 3-7. But I think if Miami wins that game, gets to 4-6, anything is possible at this point in the season. Patriots, kind of same thing for them. Browns, Panthers, they got to win out. But more than likely, those teams aren't probably going to do that because they just aren't built right now to do that. And Dolphins are kind of the only team in this position that can. Maybe the Cowboys, if they can figure out a quarterback situation. Shocked that Trey Lance isn't going to be the starter this week after what Cooper Rush did last week was nothing. And you get the Cowboys in Monday Night Football against the Texans. So that's going to be a great one to watch. Jaguars go into Detroit this week after Mac Jones had a decent first quarter and then just didn't show up at all in the rest of the game and lost on 4 field goals to the Vikings. And then you have the Colts, a tough loss at home against the Bills. And, it kind of feels like it's going to be one of those seasons where the Colts finish 8-9 yet again. The game against the Jets here, Jets at 21 with their loss. Whoever loses this game, I think, is going to be out of the playoffs, for sure. And the only chance that the Jets have really is if they pretty much lose one more game. Colts maybe have a little more leeway, but the Bills destroying in that division, so they don't really have a chance at the AFC East. Teams that have a chance actually are the Seahawks because the Seahawks are 4-5 coming out of their bye week. They get the Niners, who, 5-4, and right there in the division lead. So that's a huge game here for the Seahawks as they, have had a week and a half to prepare. Bears struggle. Caleb Williams has been struggling these last few weeks, and who knows, maybe they bench him later on. I know they fired their offensive coordinator, brought in a new guy, promoted a new guy to call a new plays. Hopefully, maybe that'll be the change against the Packers this week. Bengals, great showing, so I'm moving them up here even after a loss, but they can't figure out how to win a game these last few weeks. Close games, but it just doesn't go in their favor. Broncos, kind of same thing. Had the Chiefs beat, except their field goal got blocked at the last second. So both these teams were very deserving of a win with their performances this week. 13 through 16 now. This is where you find all 4 of the teams that were a little higher that lost, and the Texans especially. I really wanted to put them down even more, but I just kind of can't put them. I think they're better than the Rams and the Bucks right now. And the Falcons, I think it could go either way, but the Falcons lost to the Saints. So Texans at 13 kind of seems fair, blowing that huge lead, forcing 5 turnovers. I don't know what to do with the Texans. They should beat Dallas this week, maybe get back into the top 10. But, right now the Texans are playing some questionable football as they need to turn that around. Same with the Falcons. One week they're really good, the next week they're mediocre. Bucks have been really good, like kind of like the Ravens. They've been in the last few games, just have been on the bad luck side of losing. Then the Rams, I really thought they were going to turn a page, beat the Dolphins, and really take a step forward this year, but instead they took a huge step back as they fall yet again under 500. 9 through 12, get 3 teams that win in the Niners, Cardinals, and the Chargers. And the Cardinals at 6-4, I think, is a big surprise to a lot of people this year. They did fully get healthy with Kyler Murray, second year under Gannon, brought in Marvin Harrison Jr. So this team is on paper kind of where they should be. And they're playing that way. And I think it's more surprising that people saw that or are seeing that actually happen rather than it kind of being more or less 4-6. Same for the Niners. They're big win for them last week in Tampa. They get Seattle at home, and that's a huge game. for them. If they can win that game, kind of solidify themselves as the number 2 team in that division, possibly even number 1 when this week's over. I don't know. It seems like it's going to be a great race here the last few weeks in NFC West. AFC West, Chargers. Fortunately, they got the Chiefs in their division, but they're playing some good football as they get the Bengals on Sunday Night Football. And my Packers travel to Chicago, and it's a big game. Hopefully Jordan Love can play well. Obviously, the Lions game before where he tweaked something, it looked like. The Packers are playing some good football right now, and I think they're probably going to be 11-win ball club when it's all said and done. 8 through 5, Vikings, ugly win, so I'm moving them down, and I think that's only fair. They get the Titans, yet another easy game on the road for the Vikings, so their cake schedule continues. Yet again, I think this is giving off 2022 Vikings vibes here. This team is good. Don't get me wrong, they're good, but I think come playoff time, when they have to play some playoff teams, I just think this team's going to disappear. Commanders, tough loss at home to the Steelers. The Steelers defense just played really well against Jaden Daniels, and it showed. Now they get the Eagles on the road in a huge Thursday night football game. Obviously, Eagles, big win in Dallas. Not much to say there. And it's pretty much it is for first place in the NFC East in bragging rights, I guess, for a few weeks until they play again. Ravens, like I said, should be 35-34 instead of the 34-35. Ravens, big win. Keep that gap very close in the AFC North with the Steelers. And they actually get the Steelers this week in week 11, and the Steelers are at 4 as well. So 7-2 versus 7-3. Best game of the week by far. Maybe it's 1A, 1B with the Bills and Chiefs. Bills, Chiefs, that's also up there as well. So hopefully you can get both those games on your TV this week. And then you got the Lions there in the middle at 2, and what they did in the second half, miraculous. Goff throwing 5 interceptions. You shouldn't even be remotely close to winning, but this team is gritty. They don't care. They can find different ways to win ball games, and that's what they had to do here. It wasn't a pretty win, but a win is a win for the Lions. And, as a Packers fan, you've got to give them credit for what they're doing this year. The Lions find ways to win games, and that makes them very scary as we enter the middle of November and December and come playoff time. But that's going to be it for my power rankings this week. Check back next week to see where your favorite team ranks after week 11. But until the next time, the Bench Buddies are out.